So Bitcoin is going through some tough times currently, guys. We've crashed under our previous all-time high, which was set in 2017. And although we've been saying for a while that price could go down to, who knows, it could go as slow as 6K, it still is a shocker when you see a crack under that previous all-time high, an area which I think a lot of people didn't suspect it was going to go under. But these are unprecedented times. The macro environment doesn't look good. It's carnage out there. Now, Bitcoin has shown some resilience in the last few days. We've popped up back above that number and are sitting back in the $20,000 range, which is good. But it's probably just another bear market rally. The chance of it going down is still fairly strong. The macro bear environment is still there. We haven't seen resilience in the stock market. The Feds are still raising the interest rates. Things still don't look good. We are still in a very risk-off environment. And the funny thing is, you can get distracted if you're on places like Twitter. When the market goes down $1,000 on Bitcoin, everyone's in pandemonium. When it goes back up $1,000, everyone's FOMOing, thinking it's all over. It's not the case, guys. If you're ever in doubt in the charts, you gotta zoom out. We're still in a downward trend. Okay, so it's still a bear market. So let's hop into the charts, guys. Do a brief review. But before you do that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Follow me on Twitter. All right. So like I'm saying, guys, the reality is there's no guarantee we're at the bottom. We have hit some very cheap prices. And so if you are having a portfolio, which is your HODL portfolio, and you're looking to just dollar cost average in, and you're not really a good trader, it's not a bad idea to be dollar cost averaging in. I know a lot of people who were dollar cost averaging in over the weekend when we went down to the $17,000 range. It's a great level to dollar cost average in on whatever you want. Ethereum, Bitcoin, altcoins if you want. Okay, personally, I've been dollar cost averaging in since 30K into my HODL portfolio. Okay, that doesn't mean I'm buying in equal amounts every time, but it just means that when it reaches a level that I'm satisfied with the price, I'll allocate some of my portfolio for my stables or fiat or whatever, because the reality is, as I've always said, we're down currently like 68% from all-time high. So it's the perfect place to be dollar cost averaging in. And look, the reality is, it doesn't matter how many times I say it. It doesn't matter how many times anyone says it. Most of you guys out there are not going to listen. There's a reason why. What you have to do is you have to understand that there's a reason why the price goes up like this and then it comes down. Right? There's a reason for that. The reason for that is what I call momentum. Okay? So everybody thinks that markets are just random buying and selling. No, markets are not just random buying and selling. There's psychology and emotion behind these markets, right? Why? Because it's not just random robots buying and selling things on the markets. We're actual humans, right? And humans have what? Emotion. Okay? So, and you can see that in the chart, right? This from scrolling back to when the bull market started, right? You see this rapid acceleration upwards, right? If you think logically, does it make sense? Yes and no. Yes and no. You could sit back and say, no, it doesn't make sense. This is humans acting irrationally, right? But they're not acting irrationally. Some of them are acting rationally. They're piling in because they know the price is going to go higher and higher and higher and higher, or they think the price is going to go higher and higher and higher. So it's the buys being piled on to ride the momentum up, right? And that's human emotion. The same thing. Why does it crash down like this? It crashes down like this because human fear, right? People start selling, and when they see other people selling, they start selling, and other people sell. And it's that fear that leads this to drop down, right? Now, there's other complex things going on, right? But the reality is there's emotion behind here, okay? And that's why, right, when the average person who hasn't paid attention to crypto starts to get into crypto, that starts to become a sign of the top, right? Because, look, I've been in crypto for years, okay? And the reality is, when crypto is hitting all-time highs, everybody wants to know about it. Everyone wants to talk about it. The media is talking about it, right? Everyone down the street is talking about it. But when crypto is not pumping, not at all-time high, not doing so well, and nobody's paying attention to it, right? So the retail buys in up here, right? Why? Because they're the last people to find out about it, right? The smart money buys in at the bottom. I'm not going to say they buy in here, okay, but I'm just going to say the smarter money, right? Or let's not say smarter, the more aware money, the people who are actually following it, the companies who are actually following it, the people who are actually following it, buy in when it's not as popular. Why? You can say because they have faith in the technology or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just they figure that they want to get exposure to Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, and they're going to buy it when it's cheaper. They're not going to buy it at the top. When it's at the top, they're going to take profit. That's the reality, right? So the unfortunate reality is price is where it is now, okay? If you have faith that it's going to come back up, now's the best time to dollar cost average in. There's no guarantee that it's going to come back up quick, right? Most people do suspect that it's going to be a long drawn out thing, and that's mainly because of the stock market, right? We've seen massive retracements in the stock market down to 22%. And I know when things get bearish, everyone likes to FUD everything, but the reality is we are in a very uncertain macro environment currently with the war and issues with energy production and food production across the world and talks of mass recession and all these sorts of things and inflation. We don't really know what's going to happen. What we do know is the markets have constantly been in this upward trend for a long time. So, a retracement like this or a correction or whatever you want to call it is possible. Now, the reality is no one knows where this bottom is. So you have to plan, you have to be aware, you have to make sure that even if you are allocating and buying Bitcoin, that you can pay your bills, that you can afford food, that you can pay for your home, all these sorts of things. But the reality is the stock market's hurting, the crypto markets are hurting, every market's hurting. That's just the way it is. That's the reality, okay? So if you have faith in the asset, though, now is the best time to be dollar cost averaging in. We do suspect this is gonna be a problem, for the next few years. Okay, that is my suspicion. So coming back to the charts, we broke through this 30K range before. That's where I started dollar cost averaging in. This is an area of high support here in the previous all-time high, 18K, 17K region. We did break through that. We did hold support though here, barely. Let's come to the daily chart. Just barely holding support there. So we kind of have to see where this is going to play out. I think there is some possibility that price could rally upwards back now to the 25K region, and depending on the environment, things back up to 30 and 34 is a possibility. Or we could show some weakness, the market could go sideways and then back down. So right now it's very uncertain, and this is just the way it is. So if you're not a trader, the best strategy is to just dollar cost average in, and that's just the truth. BTC and ETH only. Altcoins are not something I would advise buying right now, although there are some altcoins that I would consider that you should have on your radar. Okay, but we'll get into that in another video. And look, listen guys, before I leave you, I know it's tough. Okay, it's always tough. When the market's down, things get boring, things get depressed, things get emotional, but this is just the way it is. If you can't handle the market now, then why are you in it, right? You can't logically be buying things at the top and not thinking to yourself that they're going to come back down, right? Crypto's always been risky like this. This is why I tell every single person that asks for my advice. I tell every single person, I say, one, if you're asking for my advice, then you either shouldn't be in crypto or you should just be buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? Unless you're someone I know who very heavily researches and you're just asking for my advice and you're someone who's on the same level as me, then yeah, okay, I can give you some suggestions. But that's the reality is if you don't know what you're doing, you should either not be in crypto or you should just be buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. And like I tell everybody this, I say just dollar cost average. I was telling people back at the peak of the bull market when we were at 50K to 60K, I'm just saying, you just dollar cost average, like just dollar cost average. Buy like $100 every week, and that's it. And if you did that, you would be better off than buying everything at the top or buying altcoins, right? Unless you know what you're doing, you shouldn't be touching anything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum and just a small portion of your portfolio, right? And that's just the reality, right? So yeah, I know it sucks, guys. Currently, like I said, we did kind of break through this weekly 200 SMA, which we said before was a point of major confluence here, and right now I would say we're basically in just a dead man's range. We don't really know what's going to happen. The thing I'll be watching for is to see how the price action is tomorrow when stock markets reopen. It was a holiday weekend in the US, so the markets were not open today, so we're going to have to see tomorrow how things go. I think Bitcoin at this point is really going to show some trend along with the stock market, so if we see some strength in the stock markets, we should expect to see some strength in Bitcoin. However, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think any of that matters. I think it's still a big macro bear situation, and I think risk off is the way to go. Alright guys, that's it. Take care. See you next time.